You're watching Handball from Tucson, Arizona, alongside the World Players of Handball. My name is Dave Vincent. It's the Race for 8 and the Men's Professional Handball Tour, as E Ft Peixoto from the Olympic Club in San Francisco, California, going up against Sean Lenning, one of his biggest foes throughout the years. Sean Lenning from Shoreline, Washington, and they are about ready to get set here on this Tucson court, the Tucson Racket and Fitness Club. E Ft Peixoto, as I said earlier, sponsored by the Olympic Club, had recent shoulder surgery, torn labrum. Now he's in there playing like he used to play when he was a young lad on the professional handball tour, and exactly what we expected from him. He was a guy that we thought would win the majority of his pro stops, very much like we talk about Luis Moreno now. Emmett was kind of that guy back in the late 90s. The mid-2000s, I should say. Everything feels like the late 90s to me, but it was in the mid-2000s where we felt that he would be the #1 player in the world. And you heard the announcement from Luis Cordova. And Sean Lenning gets the first serve. Referee calls a stop of play. Players both a little close to each other there. Both players wearing the black shirt. Sean Lenning just barely able to get that ball back to the front wall, and he concedes that it was a double bounce.
One serves one.
Emmett gets that point now at 1-1.
Second serve.
Now another point for Peixoto here at 2-1. Game number 1, best 2 out of 3 to 15 breaker. Also to 15, win by 2.
Short. Second serve. Hold it.
Not sure if you caught it, but there was a big presentation a little bit earlier with Fred Banfield, one of the local handball supporters here. Celebrating his 70th something birthday alongside Lolita, celebrating her birthday as well. And there's another point for Peixoto, playing pretty aggressive here, 3-1.
3 serves 1.
Elite 8 player Dave Fink joining us in the booth. Dave,
great shot.
Emmett looks really good here early. He's not allowing Sean to do all those things that Sean is able to do.
It was interesting listening to Sean yesterday. And Sean knows the rules. That's impressive, Dave. But, you know, listening to Sean yesterday saying, I've been reading a lot of sports psychology books, just trying to figure out how to stay in the moment. You know, and I thought that was, it was interesting that he would even say that, because Sean's a man of few words. But he recognizes that that's been a problem for him.
Okay. No, I didn't do a bad bounce.
This is an interesting thing. Sean, you knew somebody would have a problem with this, and you would have assumed it would have been Sean that would have had the problem with it. So, Dave, now the rules state that you can't do this, right? Everybody saw that there was a bad bounce. Dave, this is becoming a circus now. Explain what the rules are.
Now, reverse. Reverse.
What's going on? Tell me where the error is being.
He's right. He went for the shot.
Dave, tell me what's going on here.
He took his shot and he played it. He set you up and
let's just listen to this. But Sean is on edge here, Dave. early in this match. This is before a sweat's even been broken.
Well, he's going to break a sweat with this argument, I think.
Well, they played the whole rally, and Sean thought there was a bad bounce off the door. And after the rally was over, actually into the timeout, about 10 seconds into it, Sean said, I'm feeling a bad bounce on the door. And Luis said, I didn't see it, but okay, we're going to replay it. And then Emmett said, well, he played it, and then I played it, and I got a bad bounce. Okay, I'm going to reverse it again then. So we had a reverse, and back to where we started.
But the new rules state that you have to call it immediately. There's no appealing after any play.
There's also no appealing a bad bounce, and I explained that to our referee just 5 minutes ago. You can't appeal a bad bounce. It's the referee's call only. I don't like to get into that circus of one person saw it, might have seen it, didn't see it. It's just the ref's call. And if it's a dramatically bad bounce, it's a replay.
But ultimately, the players just play through it, but then they're back into it here.
Wow, great shot from Emmett.
Sean tries to clear out of the way of Emmett there, but Emmett used his positioning to go right back down that left wall. Smart shot. Not a lot of players can hit it with their offhand down the same wall. It's hard to do.
I don't think that scoreboard is correct, Dave. I think it's 6-1 or 7-1 now. We'll listen.
7 serves 1.
Yeah.
That argument seemed to drop some of the scores down. Somehow.
Second serve.
Emmett looks about as good as you can possibly look through 8 points here.
8 serves 1. Cut out.
And Sean, an amazing return, but he had to hit that just to get in the server's box.
1 serves 8.
Well, that's what Emmett's doing here in this game. You can just tell there's a different intensity from Emmett here.
Second serve.
What a left hand from Sean Lenning. Cross corner.
Short. Second serve. Short.
Double fault for Sean Lenning, Dave.
Yep. 8 serves 2. Short. Second serve.
Dave, as a player playing against Emmett, what's the one thing that you try to do against him as just any type of strategy? That you say, well, he's kind of weak here, or this is
he doesn't have any weaknesses.
Just have to outplay him?
Yeah, that's really, I think with any top player, you know, you hit the best shots you can and then try and take advantage of the setups that you get, which are a lot of times few and far between.
Second serve. Over.
Talked to Tracy Davis yesterday, Dave, who's obviously probably the greatest all-around player in the game, but she said she happened to be at the club last week, and there's Sean Lenning and Paul Brady just starting their match. She said, wow, it was just unbelievable watching the two of them play. You know, you hear them both downplay it as though they weren't playing that hard, but from what Tracy said, Dave, it was an absolutely incredible display, and I don't doubt it.
Second serve.
You heard Emmett say in an interview, Dave, that we may queue up, that he thinks he can beat Paul Brady if he just goes in there and relaxes.
No. Yeah. He appeals a bad bounce.
What? What's going on here? There's no such thing as appealing bad bounces in this game. We have a referee making just an egregious error here, Dave.
I don't know what to say.
Why don't you get your tweet or whatever you call it, your Twitterverse, and go out and tweet to him? 'Cause I know this referee has to be not focusing on the match, right? He's definitely Twittering as
he actually doesn't tweet.
Side out.
Oh, Emmett's not going to like that call at all. I think Emmett had a play on that shot.
2 serves 10. Short. Second serve.
I wanted to watch Sean Lenning's match yesterday against John Iglesias, Dave, but I blinked.
10 serves 2.
John telling me after the match that when he did miss his first serve, which was almost impossible to return, he hit a deep crack rollout ace on the second serve. Said, you know, there's just nothing I could do. Couldn't even get in the game.
That's an amazing kill shot there from Emma Peixoto, and a timeout from Sean Lenning. Now, we sat down with Sean just the other night out at dinner at your house, Dave, and in the backyard. We talked about the bad bounces in these rules. Why is it so unclear that these players don't understand that you can't appeal bad bounces? I don't understand.
I mean, what can I say? I mean, we've spoken directly to at least half the players about these various rules. Each player was sent and read all of the rules for this season. You know, you would think if you're playing for over $200,000 that you would want to know the rules going into the match. I mean, going into a tournament. Why go on the court and let yourself be aggravated by rules that you were supposed to know?
So I'm going to call a bad bounce. Thank you.
Referee saying you can't appeal bad bounces. I'm going to call him, and Sean said good luck with that.
12 serves 2.
Meaning that if you're going to call him, you better call him then, because
Short.
This court has about as many bad bounces as any court, I think, on the Pro Tour, if not more than anyone.
Long.
Emmett just said what you would have said, and that is good timeout. Emmett's rolling, and then he calls a timeout, and this now is happening.
3 serves 12. Short.
Both these guys are crushing the ball. That looked like a big slide.
Emmett's playing really good handball right now. That was a nice corner kill from Peixoto from the Olympic Club in San Francisco.
12 serves 3. Short. Heels. I called it short. One agrees, one disagrees. Second serve. Out.
You know, Dave, not a lot of guys are jumping at the opportunity to ref, but this match in particular is one that guys don't want to ref.
Well, trying to find one was pretty difficult to do.
Emmett's sister Courtney, Dave, also playing on an adjacent court here.
12 serves 3.
In a higher round.
Yeah, well, she doesn't have any fans, though, fortunately for her.
Yet she's the most popular player on tour.
Yeah.
Might be of all time. Top 3 at least.
13 serves 3. Point.
Now 14-3, and this is a total shellacking from
Peixoto.
And Peixoto's actually the one doing it. I think Sean could easily be the old Sean Lenning, but he can't get into the server's box because of the way Peixoto's playing. And there it is. Peixoto takes down Sean Lenning in game number 1, 15-3. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Stay here. More action on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. Stick with us.
The Tucson Racket and Fitness Club is your home away from home. Work out, relax, and refuel. All this and more can be yours. Call us at 795-6960 or visit TucsonRacketClub.com. The Tucson Racket and Fitness Club, where Country Club Road ends and fitness begins. The Tucson Racket Club is your home away from home. Join us for world-class tennis, handball, racquetball, and the new rage, pickleball. Or try one of our 160 weekly group exercise classes. Want to swim laps or play with your family in the pool? Enjoy our 2 junior Olympic-sized pools and wading pool that are open year-round. Then round out the perfect day with a delicious meal at our restaurant or sports bar. All at the Tucson Racket and Fitness Club, where Country Club Road ends and fitness begins.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
In 1905, Thomas Beverly Pennock settled out west to start a family construction business. Over 100 years and 5 generations later, T.B. Pennock & Sons continues on today. From our world-class concrete at the San Diego airport to our recovery efforts in New York after Hurricane Sandy. We take pride in what we build, and we will never forget who we build for. We are T.B. Pennock & Sons.
Follow the rules.
We are back in Tucson, Arizona at the TRC for game number 2. Sean Lenning scoring only 3 points against E Peixoto there in game number 1, as the referee is still trying to go over the bad bounce rule with Sean Lenning. And this is kind of an ongoing problem with some of the players. Even though they can read it, it doesn't mean that they necessarily understand it. Dave, as one of those that have been a player rep and you coordinate a lot of the interactions between the players, I know it's frustrating, but you have to kind of take yourself and put it into that player perspective. What is it that they're missing out on when they, you know, where's the miscommunication? How come they don't understand when they clearly say that they read and understand these things, but then they don't?
Well, you know, I think it's a combination of frustration. Sean was losing. You know, he wasn't happy. And it is a different way of playing. I mean, these guys have played their whole life playing it a certain way, appealing a certain way, and now the process is different. And anytime you're doing something different, it takes some time to adjust. I mean, I think our players have done pretty well adjusting. We've had all sorts of different rules, no bad bounce, different scoring. And, you know, we're trying to find the best product, you know, the best way to play that really eliminates the referee as much as possible. Because we've seen in the past the referee has become the focal point of these matches.
But see, you went up and talked to the referee before the match started and gave him, specifically told him how this bad bounce rule works, but he resorted back to the old way himself.
0-0. Hold it.
Oh.
No. That was a hand there.
Oh.
That's because that was the right call. Let's do it over. Let's go, Sean.
Dave, I've never seen
0-0.
Sean argue this much.
I think Sean's frustrated that he lost that first game. But it is true, the referee did overturn a call earlier that Emmett lobbied for, and Sean saying, hey, now that you have time to think about it, are you going to overturn your own call? And this is what I told you yesterday. When Sean Lenning gets mad, because, see, he told me personally that he can't get that intensity, and he doesn't know how to find it. But I think he can find it, like, with – see what I mean? That's a snap right there that you don't want to be on the receiving side of. I would not be around Sean when he's mad.
Hold it.
Despite losing that first game, Sean in no way thinks he's out of this match.
0-0.
Just over the line.
I know Dave, Sean likes to stand up when he shoots, but
0-0.
even on his serve, he's not bending at all, and that's why he's coming up short. That's why he's coming up a little short on his kill shots also.
Wow, Emmett is really putting pressure on. Sean digs that ball out somehow. The only way Sean is able to get into the service box is if he makes a miraculous play like that.
0-0.
I mean, he has to counter Emmett's really good stuff with even something better, and that's hard to do. Look at that laser.
Point.
Wow.
Well, Charlie Shanks got crushed in the first game against Emmett a couple
1-0.
weeks ago at the U.S. Open. He came back, got his serve going, and ended up winning the match. And I'd say that Sean Lenning is similar to Charlie Shanks in a lot of ways. That he has that serve, he has the length and the power, and it's not inconceivable. But from what we've seen from Emmett thus far, he's looking really good.
That hurts.
Oh yeah.
Heard the referee say the same thing, but I think Emmett's hand hit that ball.
0 serves 1.
Instead of his backside.
When you're that intense, you don't even feel anything.
Short.
No, you feel it a couple days later. And there's a fist pump from Emmett, but
second serve.
Not quite sure what that's all about.
Sarcastic.
I think he's mocking.
Wow, great shot.
Inside out, kill shot. And some over clapping from the fans up there in the gallery.
Would you call that a faux pas? The overclap?
Wow, that's a terrible overhit.
Point.
Now you see some frustration here from Sean Lenning. He went from being mad to being disgusted.
2
now
serves 1.
Some other adjective.
Foot fault. Foot fault, front foot. Second serve.
Nice second serve.
Set out.
Sean takes the second serve, scrapes it nearly off the back
One
wall,
serve
and
two.
still hits a rocket.
Foot fault.
Wow.
Front foot. Foot fault. Second serve. Second serve.
Sean was saying, I foot faulted the whole first game and you didn't call anything. Now you're just calling a whole bunch of foot faults. Well, that's what happens when the referee gets tipped off on some things that you're doing from the gallery.
2 serves 2.
Now the referee starts looking for the foot fault.
Short.
I thought that was good.
Both agree.
I thought it was short by
Second
a couple
serve.
inches, actually.
Oh,
that took his eye guards off, and Emmett giving Sean a kind of a sidearm high five there, but that ball hits Sean in the right in the eye, Dave, and it pops the eye guards off his face. Sean is not happy with this referee.
that was scary.
2 serves 2.
Really scary.
Now Sean could even hit the ball harder. Sean's gonna have to play the best he's ever played to beat Emmett today, because Emmett is doing everything right.
You have to remember also, Emmett's got all the momentum right now. If Sean can somehow steal the momentum here, things could change.
Oh, this is gonna go all the way to the front wall.
Great shot. You remember, Dave, Emmett led Sean Lenning 12-5 at Salt Lake City in a one-game match at 25 in 5th place, and Sean beat him 25-12.
Wow.
He scored 22 points in a row. Or
Reasonable facsimile thereof.
Yeah.
We don't have a calculator.
well, it's hard to subtract
serve.
25 from 5. It's actually 20.
Look at Sean now. There has to be a timeout. And it's being
Timeout.
called. Dave, I was
Scores
watching
5
your
serves
match
2,
earlier
1
today.
minute.
There was one of those strange, it happens a couple times
Yeah,
in tournaments.
I know what you're going to say.
Front wall, back wall, front wall again. I think you walked up there and even touched the front wall with your offhand and then swung and almost missed.
That was terrible.
Hit the ball into the ground, which is, I think, impossible to do.
From a foot away from the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really hard to do. I was just...
Now, as a coach that teaches kids how to play handball,
yeah.
you were a foot away from the front wall.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And you hit a ball into the ground. How can that happen?
It was literally the first time that's ever happened to me where
Really?
the ball came back off the front wall. And it wasn't one of those that came off the front wall low and you kind of scoop. It came high off the front wall, which made shanking it and missing the wall even harder to do because I was hitting it from up here, and somehow the ball went straight down 90 degrees straight. Yeah.
It was
really...
Well, I asked our broadcast van to keep that.
Oh, thank you.
No,
That's wonderful.
No, I actually I didn't because
Okay.
I'm a nice guy.
No, yeah.
Nice guys finish last. So that's what I've always learned. I didn't do it, but I did say rack that. I don't know if that's the term we use here in the booth.
Well, I know what a humble brag is, and I'll use one here. That was my only hand air of the match, and it was the easiest shot of the match.
Yeah,
It
so
was the only shot I missed.
what does that tell you about life?
Yeah.
5-2 now.
I don't know, actually.
I think that was a smart timeout from Emmett, even though Sean still looks like he's playing aggressive. Emmett hits the ball into the ground there.
And, Dave, this is very much like an NBA game. I mean, team gets up by 20 points, and then all of a sudden there comes the run. You know, and then you've got a tie game.
Well, sometimes a player will play against themselves, and that's the villain. And now you see Sean putting the referee as the villain here, and he's taking that weight off of himself. Now he might put it back onto himself again. Not sure if that even means anything, but I think that Sean is doing this ebb and flow thing. He's mad at himself, he's mad at the ref, and when he's mad at the ref, he seems to perform a little bit better. And that was a nice serve, I thought, from Peixoto. Deep crack. Sean now making 3 in a row. Hand airs. Peixoto now on a nice run of his own. This is the battle in the desert. How does Sean get that back to the front wall like that? And Peixoto puts it away. Remarkable shot from Sean Lenning. Take a look at this replay here.
Really nice 2-wall pass from Emmett. Even though Sean does pick this up, probably wishes he hadn't because Emmett just tees off on the
But it is a good sign when you see Sean play like that.
And that might hit the upstairs window, but it doesn't. Wow. Emmett now breathing with his mouth open. May just be tired from that long rally there. I think Emmett's recovery is really good.
Boy, Sean's so smooth on those little shots. How did Sean do that? Emmett just left the exact spot Sean hit it to. That's why Emmett yelled at himself.
Yeah, he put the perfect overspin on that.
7 serves 5.
That's only comes from playing this game for your entire life to understand how to hit a shot like that.
Big setup for Sean.
Point.
Right down the middle, laser.
Emmett had no chance at that?
No.
Oh. Okay.
Double bounce before the short line.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell where the ball bounced twice. It happened so fast.
Don't know what's going on with the
8 serves 5.
The ball. I guess Emmett was checking it.
Short.
Boy, Sean's really laying into this ball here.
Second serve. Out.
You see some players that say, I played Sean Lenning a couple years ago at a tournament. He wasn't hitting the ball hard.
Well, we've seen that. Even a month and a half ago in Las Vegas, Sean just had no strength in the shoulder and couldn't hit the ball hard. So that does happen from time to time.
But it's also about who you play in the situation. I mean, this is a rival of his. He doesn't want to lose to Emmett. He lost the first game, and now he sees a referee that is kind of reversing calls and not calling it right. He's mad. Now you're seeing Sean really hit the ball. And if he didn't do that a couple years ago at one of those local tournaments, well, he probably didn't need to. Emmett just blows that ball by.
Emmett's playing really, really well right now.
7 serves 8.
It's not really about what Sean's doing or not doing.
Short.
Emmett's just...
Heels.
The ball was short.
Both agree.
He's just playing hyper aggressive.
Second serve.
Power handball. And you know Emmett for his amazing speed, but right now he's dictating, and I think that's what Emmett needs to do. Emmett catches Sean at 8. 3 straight points for Peixoto when it looked like maybe Sean was on his way to taking the second game.
Dave, some of these players have to get mad at somebody. I know, like with yourself, you'll sometimes get mad at yourself. That motivates you to play harder. And that's the way to get to that thing that you need to get to play the best that you can play. Sean obviously has to do it.
Hold it.
Oh, no. Maybe
tough.
a makeup call there because Sean had a call go against him.
It was, but you were in the way. It was a good shot, but.
That's rough. Dave, how does a guy like Paul Brady be able to reach that place without having to get mad, you know, at the referees or himself and yell at himself?
Well, I think everyone shows their emotions and, you know, maybe their motivations differently, but I think Paul is actually, his aim is on history, not one match or, I mean, he's looking to be the best ever, and he knows that every match people are taking their best shot at him, and he's got to bring his best if he wants to win. And I think that's probably how he approaches it. You know, for most players, you're thinking about having a great result at this tournament. Paul Brady's thinking about, I've lost, no chance.
Terrible call from the ref.
I've lost 2 matches in 9 years, and I think it should be none. You know, so for the next 5 years, none.
All right, let's go. 8 serves 8.
We're all together at 8 here.
Emmett wins game number 1, Dave, 15-3 in just 9 minutes. Now he's up 9-8 after
9 serves 8.
fending off a pretty substantial charge from Sean Lenning. And will Sean make one last stand to stay in this match?
I don't know the way that Emmett's playing right here. And there's a glove change on the court here. It's going to be 2 minutes, and Emmett just is somehow able to do that. You know, we were able to sit down with Emmett Peixoto recently, and I'd like to tell our director to, if he can, cue up some of those bits between Sean Lenning and Emmett Peixoto.
Emmett talked about the rivalry between these two.
You see the referee still jarring with both the probably fans in the gallery, but also the players as well. But
I wouldn't say our referee's having a terrible day. He's blown 2 calls, in my opinion, one that went against each guy.
You know, if we can get the director to cue up EP8, that's what we wrote it down as. We were talking to Emmett Peixoto in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, at the pre-race stop at Jake Plummer's house. And then over at the tournament, afterwards, we were sitting courtside after he defeated Sean Lenning in the finals. And we asked him about the support from his family and throughout the years and sponsors and his wife, Jessica. And this is what Emmett had to say.
I've never really had anybody, other than maybe my parents, that's been so supportive of my handball game. She pushes me to train. She, like when I'm feeling like, oh, you know, I don't need to do this, and she reminds me, you're playing for a tournament. You're getting ready for a tournament. You need to get up. You need to do this. And you're right, you're right. And she just wants me to do well because she knows how much I love it and how much I hate losing. And she reminds me, you know, if I don't do these certain things, I might lose. And then, but if I do them, I could win. And she always reminds me of that. She goes to the grocery store and gets me protein shakes and, you know, all these nausea medicines because I have trouble with my stomach and all sorts of stuff for training. She comes with me to all the events. I mean, Jessica's she's been fantastic. I couldn't ask for more.
And having that support back at home is important, even if it's not talking about the strategy of the game itself, just there to help.
8 serves 10.
Knowing that your partner isn't mad at you, that you're going down to practice is really a big deal. Dave, what is Sean going to have to do here?
Sean's going to have to take Emmett out of the front court. That could have been an avoidable.
Should have been.
Yeah.
No call from the ref.
Sean's looking tired right now. Emmett not at all.
Oh, look at that left-handed punch fist from Sean Lenning into the left corner, and he gets a side out.
That was a point, actually.
A point now, excuse me. 9-10.
After the timeout, Sean Lenning with a side out and a point.
Second serve.
That was a remarkable shot from Sean.
Not a good serve at all from Sean. A Z serve is dangerous against a guy like Emmett because his left is so good, but when you leave it in the middle of the court like that, point's basically over.
Short.
But Dave, specifically, Sean will have to get that serve going, start hitting some cracks. thus far he's hit, I would say 70% of his serves short, you know, unofficially. But it seems like pretty much 3 out of 4 serves are short that he's hitting. And we've seen all the guys that have beat Emmett have just had great serves. You know, Dave, Emmett finished the year at number 2 last season, but he's now number 3. But even so, I'm seeing a different player, a better player. Even though he finished, even though he finished number 2, he just seems like he's so much better now than he was, say, in Houston last year, where he made the semifinals, or
I agree,
or Denver, where he made the finals.
It's just sort of like high-definition version of what we saw in Houston. Emmett's definitely playing better.
Oh, sorry, 10.
9 serves 10.
I mean, we watched Emmett play Chapman last year a couple times, and those matches really could have gone either way. If he's playing like he is right now, I mean, I don't see a guy like that getting out of single digits.
Oh, wow.
Point.
That was a hard paddle re-kill from Sean. Not really a paddle. I know he flicked that with his fingers, but had that same motion. Sean's able to somehow do that. That was a setup.
Beautiful shot from Emmett. That's really a tennis shot. Open stance off your back foot. But it's very effective. Sometimes you don't have enough time or space to take those 2 or 3 steps back, and all you can do is kind of lean back and you push off of your back foot. Handball is generally considered a front foot sport. But, you know, if you can have that shot, adds another wrinkle to your ability to end rallies.
10 serves 10.
Oh, terrible time to do that.
Circle that one on your scorecard, Dave. That could be pivotal.
I have so many circles on this scorecard, it's unbelievable.
Really? 11 serves 10.
Beautiful shot.
Wow, and Sean gets that back and almost has a chance to get a point there.
All of them.
3 points now from the semifinals for Peixoto. And, you know, he's playing against Moreno, who's not himself.
No, I see this
great
could be
opportunity for Emmett.
Depending on if Sean could go outrageous here.
Huh? No, also pass.
I thought Sean.
That had a reverse.
I thought Sean kind of shadowed in front of.
Yeah.
Didn't we specifically talk about that exact play on the rules committee meeting here, where Sean has to stay out, right?
No, I don't think. I think it was just a screen. I don't think Sean moved to get out of the way of the ball.
Let's go, Sean. Let's go.
Sean's acting like there's not even a question that it wasn't a hinder. Definitely was questionable. I mean, let's be honest about that.
Short.
Sean almost got hit by that ball, correct?
Yeah, our referee's saying that the ball checked in reverse and Emmett didn't have a play on it. I think he did.
Wow, that ball had a huge wrinkle on it. Expect a broken ball here soon if that's an indication that ball is really.
Sean does not like that cheering on his airs. I can tell you.
Well, he doesn't do well with it.
And that was Emmett's first hand air, really, of this match.
10 serves 12. You got 1 minute.
Well, there's going to be a timeout here. Earlier, Sean just, I would say within the last 2 minutes, said to the referee, how many timeouts do I have? It's not really good indication when the referee said, you have all of your timeouts.
And then he still didn't take one.
And you're at 10-10, and you still have 3 timeouts to call, and you didn't even know how many you've taken. I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes you get so focused you don't realize, you know, even what game this is. You just are out there trying to hit the ball. You're watching the ESPN app that everyone's talking about. Watch ESPN.com. We appreciate that. Men's quarterfinals of the race for 8. And Lenning's going to have to pull out a rabbit out of that hat here.
Well, he is a magician, and he'll need to use those. I never know how magicians do their tricks, but is it sleight of hand or quick hands? I don't know, but he'll need to use some of that magic here if he wants to force a tiebreaker. Remember, it's win by 2, which I think gives Lenning a better chance being down 12-10.
We'll see what Lenning does here as it gets really quiet at the TRC.
10 serves 12.
Nice crack serve that Emmett dug out, and Sean tries to short hop it, and it's a side out. Emmett knows that he just got a gift there.
Well, Emmett did well to return that. Most people wouldn't. And Sean just inexplicable.
Well, that was a crack that Emmett dug out somehow.
Yeah.
And then Sean does what Sean does. And then Emmett gets it right back to him.
Emmett a little impatient there. Thought he'd throw that ball around the walls or up to the ceiling. Went for an off-balance kill. And sometimes when you see the finish line in sight, you know, you go for maybe a little bit more than you're accustomed. You know, I just don't understand that shot there from Sean. Beautiful shot there. Emmett had 2 chances to win that rally, didn't take advantage. Sean Lenning now in a good position.
11 serves 12.
Serving at 11-12. 4 points now from winning this game. Make that 3. He finally locates the serve. That time a reverse to the left that just dies in the back left corner.
12 serves 12. Short. Second serve.
Tomahawk fist from Emmett.
Scores 12, serves
Great
12.
shot.
1 minute.
It's a 1 minute break these guys are taking here. This is about what I guess you thought would happen in game number 1, although it was quite lopsided with Sean Lenning losing 3-15 in that one. But here he fights back and ties it at 12, and then we've seen some side outs. I think both players are playing a little tight here.
I think Sean's shot-making selection hasn't been great here. He's taken a number of shots out of the air that would have been big back wall setups. I think if he lets those bounce and takes them off the back wall, he has a better chance to end those rallies than he does trying to hit fly kills from in between the dotted line and the short line. Very difficult to hit fly kill rally ending shots from, you know, 25 feet. Much easier to hit a back wall setup from 25 feet. I'm not really sure why he's pressing so much when he, you know, could be a little bit more patient. Could have something to do with fatigue, or maybe everything's happening so fast in there that you just get into that bang bang mode.
Well, it is a timeout here. World Players of Handball giving you this live coverage on ESPN and the World and the ESPN app that I actually downloaded off of Hulu Plus. Now you could probably do it in your own way, Dave. Netflix.
So that's how you watch King and Queens while we're also doing the webcast. I know that.
Well, I didn't want to miss that episode. Episode 37, they say. Started back at the beginning for the 6th time. 6th.
Yeah. Kevin James, a remarkable actor. Great body control there from Emmett. Very difficult to keep that ball down when you run forward facing the front wall. He had to because of the way the angle of Sean Lenning's shot came to him. What a shot from Sean Lenning. If he doesn't connect there, Dave, he's down match point. Instead, he pretty much goes for broke. 37 feet.
13.
That's how Sean does it.
Yeah.
Huge setup now for Emmett. Beautiful shot from Peixoto, now serving here at 13-12. I was thinking that maybe we can play this match by having Jim Peixoto, Emmett's father, and Larry Lenning, Sean Lenning's dad, go up against each other.
13 serves 12.
Oh, that's a nice shot there from Sean.
Sean continues to take these short hop full swings.
Wow. Wow. What was that?
Changed his mind at the last second. Tried to take something off of it, maybe float it down the right wall instead of drilling the ball in the corner.
Match point, serves 12.
So here it is.
Hard fault.
Emmett already had the fist pump up. It's hard to come back from a premature fist pump.
Oh, look at that shot from Sean, and Peixoto dives in, and there's a side out here. Emmett upset, asking for the towel. Referee can't actually walk it down there, so somebody's going to have to pick it up. Dave, I know this disgusts you. You think that there should be towel people running
I used to
onto the
think
court.
that, but then I realized that the towel people don't know exactly where the sweat is, and it just becomes a bigger hassle. I'd rather just do it myself if I'm the one who dove.
Well, that's what I say in business.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I'm texting you and letting you know when I leave the office every night at 9:30 or midnight. That's what I do.
I was wondering why you did that.
I just wanted you to know, if you want it done, you do it yourself.
Huh. I've never seen a weekly report, though, so I don't know what's being done. I just
you just know it's happening.
Well, something's happening.
I'm reading yours. That's what I do for part of my weekly report.
Part of my weekly report is writing my weekly report. Also, I cross off as I go. That's another part.
12 serves 14.
12 to 14, though, here in game number 2. Lenning trying to get 4 more he's going to have to get. It'll have to go to overtime if Sean is to win game number 2.
13 serves 14. Short.
Sean is 1 point away from forcing overtime.
Second serve.
Luckily for the announcers, we get overtime pay when these games go into overtime. So you know what we're rooting for, Dave.
That was a nice kill shot right there from Peixoto.
Match point, serves 13. Short.
See what kind of second serve Emmett hits here.
Second serve.
He's going to hit a power 2-wall serve.
Oh, and there it is. Peixoto takes it, goes into the semifinals here in Tucson, Arizona, and he gives Sean Lenning a nice little hug. Sean has a smile on his face. It was really good play. I mean, one of the reasons why Sean can't be too upset is because Emmett played really good here today.
Well, absolutely. Emmett did play exceptionally well, but Sean Lenning, just an inexplicable error there. I saw him make that same exact shot, losing to Luis Moreno 21-19 on this court a couple weeks ago in a tournament. But Sean Lenning, Dave, just had some great moments, but had some real mental lapses, I think, also with his decision making. You know, going for those short hop, full swing shots, those fly kills from the deep court without his legs underneath the shot. But all credit to Emmett Peixoto, who really looked, I think, the best I've ever seen him play today, particularly in that first game where he was flawless. You know, the second game, Emmett came back to earth a little bit. Sean had his chances. He was up 8-5 and then tied at 10 before Emmett surged, and even there right at the very end, the game was in doubt. But, you know, Emmett Peixoto does advance. He'll face Luis Moreno, who he defeated at the Nationals the last time they played. Came back from a 9-0 tiebreaker deficit. I believe one of the biggest deficit comebacks ever in a tiebreaker in a big championship. But, you know, Luis didn't look great today. I don't think is feeling that well. Emmett, I think, is feeling great. So I hate to be an odds maker, but I would favor Emmett in that match.
So that's Emmett Peixoto versus Luis Moreno in the semifinals. That'll take place at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. That's Arizona time. That'll be in a few hours from now. And at 4:30, it's going to be Paul Brady versus you. So I don't think we're going to be seeing you much because I think you're going to focus on that, not going to focus on this. I don't know why. You do better at this than that.
But that's true.
Just joking. So you're going to play Paul Brady at 4:30. Since we have you in the booth, what are you going to look to do here? Stay aggressive like you did earlier, hopefully.
Well, I hope I can play as well as I did earlier this morning and put pressure on Paul and see how he reacts to it. I feel like in the previous times we played, I haven't gotten embarrassed. I haven't necessarily been in the matches either. Generally get about 10 or 11, you know, which isn't terrible. But, you know, I felt like during those matches there's been opportunities for me to get a little bit closer. You know, of course, I think in one of those matchups Paul didn't play well at all. But, you know, I was able to play him last week, and he's certainly a huge favor. I'm just going to do the best I can and hopefully get my serve going and get my offense going.
Okay, well, we're going to catch you at 4:30. Coming up next, though, it's going to be the men's semifinals of the 40-plus Pro Tour. So we'll have another match in about 5-10 minutes or so right here on this show court in Tucson, Arizona. It's the WPH Race for 8, and we are live on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app. We want to thank you for tuning in and watching handball all day long, all weekend long, as we have more action even on Final Sunday tomorrow. But we have to find out who's going to get there first. For Dave Fink, my name is Dave Vincent, Linda Manning, as well as Chris Grad, Matt Tatiano, and the crew that is helping out here with this live broadcast on ESPN. We'll be back with more handball in about 10 minutes. Stick around here on WatchESPN.com.